you watch Game of Thrones, you know better to mess with these feminine badasses because you're gonna get a strong ass whooping. Now, being strong doesn't mean being physically fit or stepping away from being feminine. There are many women in Game of Thrones who's feminine but still play in an incredibly male-dominated power game. Here's Geeky's list of feminine badasses who play the Game of Thrones just as hard as any man does.
Do you think I'm as dumb as all those girls in silk dresses you knew growing up?
Now how about the wildlings who live north of the wall? The people who take care of their own, who survive. They're tough and headstrong, living in a political free society where land is free for all use. You probably noticed that the wildling women range from those who cook for their families, you know, the typical things we associate women doing in such a setting, to warriors called spear wives. Then we have Ygritte, our feisty warrior. She's seen traveling with men and puts herself in danger. A lot. Though Ygritte has some qualms with Jon Snow, all the way up till the last scene of season 3, she will fight seriously to the point of killing Jon, even if they have a love interest. She's not hesitant to turn things into her favor or to those she is loyal to, using her wit and cunningness to eliminate enemies no matter who they are. Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, Queen of the Andals and the First Men, Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, Breaker of Chains, and Mother of Dragons. Not even the men have that many titles as Daenerys Targaryen, and that's saying something. Initially, she was married off as a bargaining chip in exchange for her brother, to have an army. Well, look where that got him. She didn't start with the dragons and the loyal army force she has today. The struggle to see eye to eye with Khal Drogo, the leader of the Dothraki, was a difficult task to overcome in a male-focused group. Yet she prevails and earns the respect and power over the very group her brother wanted to use. The confidence and strength from her time with the Dothraki brings about a hidden confidence, courage, and strength to take her rightful place as the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. As she liberates Qarth and asks for a slave, she gains the ability to lead people through physical and political battlegrounds. This makes her one of the most successful leaders of the Game of Thrones. She is powerful, strong, and determined, characteristics that many GOT fans believe to be the right for the claimer of the Iron Throne. Now here is a house that seems to be run by the women, if Lady Olenna's comments are to be believed. Margaery of House Tyrell takes after the strength of Lady Olenna, who views men of her own house as worthless or as means to an end. Since Lady Olenna and Margaery are both representing House Tyrell, we can assume that the house is woman strong. The reason why Margaery is representing House Tyrell is because she's going to marry Joffrey and thus being the upcoming queen. To give herself more power and reputation as upcoming queen of King's Landing, she goes around the place sending kindness to the common folk to gain support instead of being passive. She does not give in to Joffrey's vicious nature exclusively, since on the outside she is giving and lovable. She doesn't take part in Joffrey's evil doings, but she gives in enough to let Joffrey trust her. Margaery is able to manipulate her and her surroundings so that almost everyone has a positive impression of her, and thus will give her more power of the people. Though she is purposely manipulative for her and for her house's personal gain, she is a better choice to be sitting in the Iron Throne rather than a Lannister.
Power is power.
Now why are we adding Cersei Lannister to the list, since she's basically the one responsible for Ned Stark's execution? Everyone hates her in some way, but she's one of the best players in the Game of Thrones. She's playing her cards and she's playing it right. In all seriousness, Cersei is the one carrying the Lannister name into higher political power, since one of her brothers became the Kingsguard and the other is a black sheep dwarf. Though Cersei resents her political pact marriage with Robert Baratheon, she thoroughly enjoys the power that comes with being placed directly in King's Landing. If she were a male, Cersei would have no doubt to obtain lands and titles to her heart's desire, with her ambitious, strong-willed, and determined behavior she demonstrates so far. Cersei's weakness comes not from her gender, but from her lack of natural political savvy. Much of the evidence that demonstrates her lack of politics actually comes from the books. So, in effort to not spoil any viewers, we can't give any any more details. What we can say for sure is that her willingness to play the game, but her lack of political skills in the Game of Thrones, has nothing to do with her gender.
We offer you these false gods.
Take them and cast your light upon us. For the night is dark and full of terrors.
Melisandre is a woman of faith to the Lord of Light. Oddly enough, instead of the faith of seven, which is considered to be Westeros' version of the Roman Catholic Church. To see a woman in a position of spiritual power is not seen very often in our world, much less in the world of GOT. Though her standing as the Red Priestess of the Lord of Light, Melisandre and other women are easily accepted as leaders to be honored and respected. As a religious leader for Lord of Light, Melisandre's goal is to not obtain the Iron Throne, but the pursuit of goals that involve war. Obviously, the goals of spiritual and religious battles make it necessary for her to hold her own ground in a male-dominated politics. Her devotion for her cause, though, does not let these men shake Melisandre's faith, but on the contrary, make her steadier. With religious devotion as a tool, she converts many on Dragonstone to the Lord of Light, specifically that of Stannis Baratheon. With Stannis wrapped around her finger, she is able to be a high player in the Game of Thrones, as Stannis' advisor and as an influential force to be reckoned with.